Welcome everyone here to week 3 of Coalition League Summer Split. Tonight we're gonna be watching the Demacian division. I'm Random Minion Caster, and alongside me is going to be Aderant Luna. How are you doing, Luna?
Doing all right. It's been a busy week, man. Busy week.
For sure. And this game here, we've got Prismatic Esports on the blue side, and we've got SFAD. I believe it's Scarlet Fox's Atomic Desperadoes on the red side, and SFAD is the rebranding of Raw Rampage from last split. So these are the returning champions here. And speaking of which, they've already started their picks and bans. So we're going to jump right into it here. On for Prismatic, they're going to ban out the Yumi, Aphelios, and Graves. For SFAD, they're going to ban out Galio, Nasus, and they're just thinking and holding the last ban for themselves right now. And one thing to note also is the on the side of Prismatic here, they do have an E substitution, so they will be losing a ban. And they've got an E sub in the top lane. It's going to be True Hero, and they're going to move their top laner Just Storming into the jungle here. And for mid lane, Mickey Mouse for the win. ADC so amusing, and support LHE Dark Prince on the red side for SFAD. Top laner Shapiro, jungler Finny, mid laner Cassidy, ADC Icon has Piss Tank, and support heal Slowat. And the last ban coming out, SFAD, is going to be that Pike there against LHE Dark Prince, which used so well last week. First pick coming out for Prismatic. They're going to pick that Nautilus up straight away.
Yeah, I mean, Nautilus is really strong right now. I'm liking the hover of the Morgue to maybe counter that. And man, those are some names for SFAD. Yikes.
Yeah. Don't really even understand what Icon has Piss Tank to me, but okay. Yeah, and it looks like they're going to hover that Jin as well for I'm just going to show that the Piss Tank. That's a mouthful right there. So hovering the Jin right now for Piss Tank, and it is one of the champions that he does play quite a bit as well, so we'll be fairly comfortable on that champion.
Yeah, and it's one of the best combos like that. It's either run that in Morgue or Kate Morgue. Those are like the top two right now with comboing with Morgana.
Definitely, and Icon has Piss Tank, not really a huge ADC player. Does tend to play mid more than ADC, but does play a Nasi, Aphelios, and Jin, so we'll be fairly comfortable with this. Prismatic going for the Ashe for So Amusing once again, and we saw him play it last week as well in Game 1 when they went I believe it was DOV Chaos last week, the one game that they did manage to win. So definitely a very strong pick there for So Amusing. The last pick in phase 1 going to be the Kane for Just Storming.
I really like the Kane pick. It's very flexible. So it opens up options for their last two picks, whether or not they want something to be a bit more tanky, or if they just want him to go Shadow Assassin.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see what they opt and decide to do here, because they do have the option. SF80 going for the Kindred for their last pick phase 1. That's going to go to Finny in the jungle here. We do know Finny from last but did play mid jungle, and I believe it was ADC for Raw Rampage. Definitely likes high damage champions, so Kindred definitely in his wheelhouse here.
Indeed. That and it really rounds out their comp with what they're showing right now, because while Kindred also has a lot of damage, they're also a big game changer with the Kindred ult.
Yeah, definitely does fit into almost any composition there. Can make people a lot tankier than they might otherwise appear just by giving them that invulnerability at the end. But that is a double-edged blade. If they use it incorrectly, it could shot themselves pretty hard here, keeping the opponents alive when they want to take them down. And now for the rest of the bans here for SF80, they're going to ban out the Heimerdinger and the Anivia. That Anivia going to be targeted towards Mickey Mouse. It was the only champion that we've seen him play. He only played game 3 last week, so definitely targeting that. And on the side of Prismatic, they're going to go with the Mordekaiser ban for the bans, and that one's going to be against Shapiro here in the top lane, one of his most played champions.
I like it. Mordekaiser is very strong top laner, very solid. So not having to deal with it is a good call.
Yeah, and when we saw these two, when we saw the side of Prismatic play last week, they did often play out through either the top or the bot lane, but it was just storming in the top lane last week. So we'll have to see if True Hero can dominate from the top lane as well. And the other win condition they had was so amusing in that bot lane, along with LHE Dark Prince to make those initiates and plays for them. So definitely will be a lane to watch, especially if they go up against Heo Slawat, previously known as Ari Ludes, back in the spring split here. She could often carry her lanes if she got her hands on an aggressive support, and that Morgana might just fit the bill there. Now SFAD first pick on the second phase is going to be the Skarner, most likely in the jungle here. Oh, actually no, it has to be in the top lane probably for Shapiro maybe.
That's
Oh, sorry. Okay. Uh, oh, and on the side of Prismatic, pardon me, there's a bit of issue. There is that Renekton should be a Malphite. So ignore
okay.
the Renekton. That's a Malphite, and I'm trying to figure out what on earth there. Okay, so it's going to be a Malphite and Set. Going to be the last two picks for Prismatic. Most likely a AP Malphite mid and a Set, which probably will be heading to that top lane there for True Hero.
Right. So this is very interesting seeing Skarner anywhere that's not in the jungle. I'm I don't know, I'm a bit confused by it. I'm I'm more intrigued by it than I'm confused though. I'm very curious to see how it's going to play out. Although Skarner is more of a brawler than an actual tank, so I don't know. It kind of leaves SFAD to be a little squishy in the early game.
Yeah, and I guess that's
Whereas
where the Kindred pick comes in here to try and keep them all alive.
that's true, very true. And I mean, this corner is really nice because it's ideal target picks, right? You get whoever you want and you drag them away. I mean, you set that up with the Morg Dark Binding, Jin Snare, there's a lot of potential there. But then you look at Prismatic and knowing that the Renekton is actually a Malphite, their team is stacked in tank. Like it's going to be pretty difficult to get through that front line.
And we'll have to see because if they do end up running that AP Malphite in the mid lane, they do tend to be rather squishy, almost like a nuclear bomb going into the back line. But it's a fire and forget bomb. Once it goes in, if they don't get the kills, they are going to be dead to rights in the middle of five. So we'll definitely have to see if they do end up with that squishy Malphite instead. And then if that's the case, there's really only the Set and the Nautilus, and depends on the Kane as well, which way that transition goes.
Right.
Yeah, and we didn't.
Especially because not to cut you off, but if Malphite does go AP, then Kane will most likely go Red Kane. But if Malphite goes tank, then that leaves options for Shadow Assassin come in, which would work out very well for them since SFAD has little to no tanks.
Yeah, and I was just going to say with SF80 as well, their last pick here we didn't really mention is the Silas pick for themselves for Cassidy in that mid lane, and we'll have plenty of options of ultimates here from the side of Prismatic because Malphite ultimate with that Silas would be absolutely devastating. Not to mention the showstopper, and there's always the option of taking that enchanted crystal arrow for long range initiates for the team as well.
Right. That's definitely the wild card of the game is the Silas pick right there. Like the Kindred was already a solid pick, being able to extend team fights and keep their team alive and be able to put out more damage. But the Silas will definitely give them a ton of options for either engage or disengage based off of what Prismatic has chosen for their team.
Yeah, definitely for sure here. And just in terms of the teams as well, SF80 last split, known to be a very lane dominant team. Like they don't pick very much for synergy. They pick almost exclusively just for comfort and to run over their opponents here. So we haven't really spoken that much about their composition. We've spoken a lot about the individual champions, but in terms of compositions, who do you think is an edge, and how do you think these comps will play out?
I definitely think Prismatic has the easier comp to really use. Because I mean, they have Malphite ult that can go into Nautilus ult. They have Ashe ult. You know, Kane, depending on what he does, can either be good frontline or he can just be straight up assassin and just take someone out. Then you have the showstopper from Set. Like their team is very team based. Like you can pretty much start with any of those champions and just play off of each other left and right, back and forth. Whereas with SFAD, it's going to be a little bit more tricky, especially with having the wild card of Silas. It's I don't know. It's just kind of weird because they only have one really good strong initiate, being the Skarner, and then a secondary one with the Silas, depending on what he gets. Morg is good peel. Jin has some peel for himself, and Kindred can at least get herself out of fights, or be able to extend a fight, like I was saying with her ult, to try to get her team into a better situation to be able to turn the fight. So while their comp is really strong, it's definitely going to be much more difficult to pull off successfully, I feel.
For sure. So once again, SFAD pushing themselves into that corner, looking for those lane, for the lane dominance that will be able to snowball themselves into the mid game here, and they'll definitely need it if it's as you said, they don't really have a ton of options that Skarner going to go in. But on the other hand, Prismatic gonna have to pay that QSS, pardon me, tax early against the Skarner, and it is going to be a Skarner top lane indeed, and it looks like it's actually going to be a Malphite top and set potentially in the mid lane. It's going to be Mickey Mouse on that set at any rate, so we'll have to see if True Hero and Mickey Mouse end up lane swapping. That was something we saw a lot with Vengeful Reapers last split when True Hero was playing on that team, so they might do it again here with Prismatic.
Right. And with the Malphite being top, that's definitely going to be interesting with that being in the Skarner, because like I was saying, early on, Skarner is pretty squishy himself. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to pan out.
Yeah, he has the option of going AP if he wants to try and squish that bug, that Scorpion, as fast as he can, or he can go the traditional tanky top Malphite build, and then we get into a situation where you're talking about that sort of meatball, really strong front line for So Amusing here on the Ashe, and that was exactly actually what they ran last week against the OV Chaos in Game 1. They ran a huge front line for So Amusing, and therefore the Ashe, even with the e-mobility, was perfectly safe because they could never quite reach the Ashe here. And there isn't really a huge backline diver unless Cassidy manages to flank with the Silas here for SFAD.
Right.
And with that, we are going to go to an intermission break while we wait out the spectator delay here. So we'll see all of y'all in a couple of minutes back on Summoner's Rift.
Oh, hi! It's me again. I missed you. Don't try to fight me back. You can't break me. Try it, and you shall
And we're in, ladies and gents. We're back to Summoner's Rift. And once again, on the blue side, it's going to be Prismatic Esports. On the red side, SFAD. And they're back after winning the spring split and looking to see if they can keep their crowns here in the summer split as well. And it looks like neither team going to go for the invade. It's only game one of a best of three here. So plenty of time to play passive and figure out what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the side of Prismatic, I'm actually kind of surprised they're not opting for the invade because they have Nautilus and Ashe. So, I mean, that's a very easy to pull off invade.
Yeah, perhaps just not feeling comfortable or confident with the team. Reminder is that the top laner, True Hero, is an E-sub for this game, so not their usual starter. Usually it's just Storming in that top lane, and last week they had Matsi in the jungle. So perhaps they're just not feeling confident, not really having the synergy between the team just yet, and so they opt to play this one cautious. And in terms of skilling, which team do you think would win the skilling fight here between the two teams?
The scaling fight, I think I'd give it to Prismatic. I think they'll hit power spikes a little earlier. Depending, well, it kind of depends on what True Hero does to the Malphite, whether or not he's going to go tanky or if he's going to go full AP. And it also depends on how well the bot lane goes for Prismatic, because Jin Morg is also a very strong lane that can scale really quickly.
For sure, and in the pregame I had said that I do think So Amusing is one of the key factors here for Prismatic. So if we do see So Amusing and Dark Prince getting stifled in lane, it could spell a lot of trouble for the team. But so far looking good as the Anchor Toss lands onto Icon, his Piss Tank, and he's going to take half of his health in terms of that trade there. So the early phase already going the way of So Amusing and Dark Prince. They're starting to exert that dominance real early here.
Mm-hmm. And they also were able to pop looks like a Guardian proc from Morgana there, which is pretty interesting. Not a usual rune for Morgana.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a mistake coming out of Heo Slawat there in the bot lane. I just don't think Morgana really benefiting that much from it compared to the usual arcane mastery tree that she'd go with there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going to be a set mid, and we do see the trade between Mickey Mouse and Cassidy, both of them running low, but really good use of the shield and true damage there from Mickey Mouse. And so Cassidy's going to have to be real careful about that. But we do see Finny going to that bot lane. Will get spotted out by the River Ward, but will it be enough? No, because the root's coming down from Heo Slawat there. Dark Prince gonna have to flash right away, but the damage is gonna come down. That's 2 flashes burnt, but they do secure first blood there for Piss Tank.
That was actually 3 flashes because Penny flashed as well.
Sorry, it was Finny and Piss Tank. Heo Slawat didn't burn her flash.
Right. Oh, no, Dark Prince flashed, so it's 3 flashes overall in the fight. My bad.
For sure, yeah. So they trade the junglers. They lose the jungler's flash for first blood there, trading ADC and support. So we'll have to see if this Prismatic can take advantage of the fact that Piss Tank does have his flash down for the next little while. And that is a very immobile bot lane as well. Jin, Morgana, neither of them have any way of really being mobile, so could potentially spell a good gank. But in the mid lane now, Cassidy running real low. Mickey Mouse getting the pull there, but Finny in from the side will be able to force him out. Now Just Storming has arrived as well. Can he pick up the kill? Finny took an extra turret shot, might go down here to the minions. No, Just Storming going to flash over, get himself the last auto. Now Cassidy going down as well. That's a double kill for Just Storming, and Prismatic firing back.
Man, Just Storming definitely living up to his name. He's just storming in there. Like, that was a really, really good counter gank. Very clean.
Yeah, that's absolutely massive for them, getting themselves back into the game here. And one of the biggest things with that Silas in the mid lane too is if he hits level 6, he can use your ultimate before you even have access to your ultimate. So definitely do not want to see a Silas get ahead of you in lane. Now top lane, True Hero and Shapiro going at it here. Shapiro has to be careful. Was sat in the middle of the entire minion wave there. Will be able to get up, but extremely low here. True Hero though low on mana, will not likely to be able to dive this one without assistance for now.
Yeah, right now both teams being super aggressive. I'm curious to see if this is going to be like this all game, or if it's going to slow down at any point. And depending on how aggressive both teams are, if it's going to be dragged out, or if it's just going to be like a 20-minute slugfest.
Yeah, despite all the action we're seeing across every single lane right now, only 3 kills, and it's spread across both teams. So both teams playing very well here, knowing their limits in their lanes for the most part. And all the kills so far have come about due to the jungler's presence. So Finny and Jess storming, making a lot of action happen around the map here.
I'm definitely interested to see who's going to make the call to go for Dragon first, with it being a mountain, to give the extra resistances to their team.
Yeah, last week the side of Prismatic wasn't particularly focused on objectives, and if we go by what we've seen of Finny in the jungle here, he's also a bit of a coin flip here. Does prefer to go for kills a lot of the time, so might not focus as much on the objectives. And speaking of kills, he's going to that top lane looking for True Hero right now. But Shapiro was stuck behind the minion wave really far away, will not be able to follow in, so just going to be some damage put down onto True Hero there. Just storming, waiting just over the ledge there, will now run into Finny. Finny has to be careful, already low on health, gonna get chased down, but this stun's gonna land, stop the engage there from Just Storming for now. And it's anybody's fight in this 2v2, both sides trading really well, but we do see Cassie coming up, and Shapiro just putting the damage down on Just Storming for now. Will he go down? Yes, he will. It's going to be Cassidy picking that one up. True Hero going to go down right after. That's a double kill for Cassidy. Good roam. He gets the priority. Mickey Mouse too late to the party. Will just have to back off, say goodbye to his buddies in the top lane and the jungle there.
Yeah, it was definitely very clean by Cassidy, and I'm not sure if he was able to steal an ult from anyone or not in that, or if he was just like, nah, it's fine, I don't need it.
Yeah, he did manage to steal an ultimate, and I suspect it was the unstoppable force there to get the engage, and I think that's how he managed to reach Kayn over the wall. Now bot lane, the anchor toss comes down, but a good black shield from Hugh Slowat will keep her alive. The exhaust onto So Amusing as well. Piss Tank looking for the kill. He picks it. Dark Prince once again, and now So Amusing has to be careful. Does use the flash, will dodge out the binding coming out from Hugh Slowat, but still going to take a lot of damage from that bouncing canister there. Is going to be low and has to be careful for now.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, with Morgana... Oh, wait a minute.
I'm going to have to cut you off here as Just Storming finds Heal Slowat. The Dark Binding comes down, but it will not be enough. They do reduce some... It does somehow survive. It's going to be heal coming up from Pistang, but now Pistang going to go down. Heal Slowat at least able to survive. So what looked like was going to be a double kill, they managed to mitigate some of that, and it's only going to be Pistang going down there. Mid lane fights coming out as we see the showstopper coming out from Mickey onto Cassie, dragging him to the back to the middle of the lane, but not going to be enough damage. The healing coming out of that Conqueror, as well as Silas's skills. They're able to keep him healthy. Flash comes out, but the grab will not land. Good flash from Cassie will keep him safe, especially as True Hero comes down from that top lane, looking for a gank, and Shapiro going to be left alone to keep on pushing that top lane.
Right, and right now True Hero's his teleport is currently down, so he's going to have to walk back up there. So right now Shapiro's just got free plates sitting in his pocket, available at least.
For sure, yeah. Shapiro able to find himself a bit of a lead, and so far that Scarlet pick in the top lane actually working really well. He's winning that 1v1 against True Hero, and we did see the 2v2 as well. It looked like Shapiro was winning that one quite handily as well. So despite being a very unorthodox pick, definitely doing wonders for the team.
Yeah, definitely being a very interesting sleeper pick. I wonder if it's trying to, if Scarlet Top's going to make a emergence as a common thing.
Yeah, I don't think many of the other top laners here in Coalition League actually play Skarner, so for now I think it'll just be Shapiro's pocket pick, and if he can force teams to ban it against him, that'd be absolutely massive. But top lane, just storming, coming over that wall once again, that mobility from Kayn, able to pick up Shapiro, and Shapiro gonna go down there. In the meantime though, Finny was on the Dragon, did manage to pick up the Mountain Drake for his team there, so they will be able to get themselves the first Drake of the game, trading Shapiro's life for it.
And that's definitely going to be huge, especially for the bot lane, who's been doing extremely well on the side of SFAD.
Yeah, so Amusing is still winning that lane, is doing really well on that Ashe, but has had to sort of play around a lot of that loss of early pressure when Dark Prince did get caught out by quite a few bindings. So definitely a bit of a rough lane, but I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ashe does scale into late game better than Jhin, so if this keeps on going, it's going to be good for the side of Prismatic. Top side though, Herald does go down, and it's going to be Prismatic picking it up, but Just Storming will go down there. We see the Skarner ultimate being used to lock him down. Now, True Hero has to be careful, getting collapsed on by 3 once again. Mickey Mouse just peeking out to show some moral support there, but will not be enough to save his life. They're just going to dive that turret, and True Hero going to go down in that top lane once again. Now Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out. The depth charge was already used. The Ignite now onto Piss Tank. Do they have enough damage? They do. So Amusing with that Q, the rapid fire, able to do a lot of work. A beautiful stopwatch there to dodge the anchor toss, but will it be enough there? No, it won't be. It's going to be a double kill going the way of So Amusing. Dark Prince able to just walk out barely there. Now mid lane, Mickey Mouse getting dove by the beautiful Kindred ultimate to keep them all alive for now. Just Storming going to use that Kayn out. It's going to go on to Cassidy, and so just Finny going to be able to survive a bit longer, but the Showstopper going to put an end to that, and Cassidy stealing the Kayn out will not be enough to keep him alive. Maybe it will, because he does manage to turn around and pick up Mickey Mouse, but Just Storming once again a double kill in the mid lane for himself. This mid lane is working out really well for Just Storming.
Yeah, Just Storming is definitely getting a lot of benefit out of that, and it does look like that the Malphite is going full tank, which left the option for Just Storming to go Shadow Assassin Kayn, which is something that you do not get to see very often.
No, but it will work very well here, as we already said. On the side of SF80, not really any true tanks. You've got the Skarner, who might build a little bit tanky, but bot lane. So Amusing going to eat the Dark Binding, is far away enough that he won't take too much damage and will be fine. But speaking of So Amusing, he's already got the Essence Revert completed there. Piss Tank only with the components for the Storm Razor. Still missing, I think it's the Crit Cloak there for the Storm Razor, so still quite a bit behind So Amusing, and that just means bad news for him. Herald going to be dropped in that top lane by True Hero, looking to get plates there in the top lane. And Shapiro just going to drag True Hero under the turret. He's going to go down. The Unstoppable Force not going to be enough. It was too little, too late. The turret's going to take him down, but he does manage to pick up all but one of the plates in that top turret.
Yeah, using the Unstoppable Force was a good idea, but at that point, just like, you know, it's obvious that you're not going to be able to get away from that turret shot. You might as well just save it for next fight. Because at rank 1, it's a pretty decent cooldown, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's like 90 seconds, maybe 100?
Yeah, it's 130 seconds there. Yeah, so that as you said, is going to be rough for 2 minutes. That ultimate not going to be available. His teleport will most likely be available before that, though, so might be able to make a play somewhere on the map, potentially on that Inferno Drake, if it doesn't get taken down before then.
And so earlier with the bot lane, wait a minute. Ooh, that's a lot of damage.
Mid lane, Cassie and Mickey Mouse just trading back and forth. They're both more than happy to trade, and we've seen this throughout the laning phase here. But Enchanted Crystal Arrow gonna come out on Piss Tank. A good black shield to buy time there. But the Soul Shackle is coming out. Dark Prince has gone in, and Finny shows up as well. Will not get the assist, but does go after So Amusing. They're gonna dive this, and he will pick a shutdown for himself off of So Amusing's corpse. And SF80 starting to pull ahead a little bit in, or sorry, not pull ahead, but return close to deficit a little bit in that bot lane. Just Storming going to show up, see if he can opportunistically pick up yet another kill here. Finny's ultimate not currently available, should be up soon though. So probably will not lose anyone on this bot lane. Mid lane though, Mickey Mouse extremely low. Cassidy flashing in, Mickey Mouse flashing out. Do they have enough movement speed? He's going to dive in. He will be able to pick up the kill. The Triumph going to keep him healthy enough to survive that dive as he walks away with less than 100 health. And True Hero is going to use that teleport into the bot lane. Does not have the Unstoppable Force available. The Kindred ultimate coming out to keep Finny alive, and they will be able to pick just Storming. He did not get into the ultimate range, and now True Hero, Dark Prince do not have their ultimates available, will not be able to find anything else on the back of that, and that's just going to be another free kill for SFAD.
And right now, both these teams are cracked out of their minds. They're just going at it constantly. It feels like it's almost been an extended fight for the past 5 minutes.
And the Unstoppable Force does come right off cooldown, will instantly be used on Finny to pick him up. And that's the jungler down for the side of SFAD. The Inferno Drake is up. So Amusing is back in lane as well. So they might potentially look for that Inferno. No, it doesn't look like they will, because Just Storming going to go up to that top lane, where the first turret just went down in favor of SFAD in that top lane, surprisingly, when it was True Hero who dropped the Herald top lane.
Yeah, that's definitely quite a shock. But like right now, with how well these teams are playing, like I'm not sure if just the one turret is going to be a really huge advantage, especially because it looks like they're just going to trade the bot turret for the top turret, essentially.
Yeah, that bot turret kind of low right now, less than 20% health remaining on it, so could potentially go down if they keep applying pressure. We do see Finny coming back down to the bot lane, but it'll be too late. They're going to even out the turret count, and the gold going to be really even here between the two teams, just about 200 in favor of SFAD, but it's actually just closed even closer now. SFAD is going to be able to pick themselves up the second Drake of the game, and it's going to be an Inferno Drake here, so definitely one that they'll be more than happy to pick up, and from here on out, we're only going to be seeing Cloud Drakes now.
Now, if I'm a Jhin, I would prefer to have more Infernal Drakes, but more Cloud Drakes is also really nice. Just being able to have that movement speed to position better and just pop off in team fights.
And with a team so damage focused, they'd be more than happy to get movement speed to be able to position. Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out, does not land on anybody. Finny is there. They can use the Kindred ultimate, but he doesn't. It was on cooldown. So we do see Shapiro going down before he can do anything. Cassidy, the next target here, and finally the Kindred ultimate off cooldown. Showstopper pulls Finny out. Mickey Mouse gets the kill onto both Cassidy and Finny there. Well played from him. They are going to lose just Storming, but still, that's a 1-for-3 trade, and any team would take that any day of the week. Piss Tank and Heal Slot going to continue pushing that bot lane. They find the outer turret, and they're now looking for that inner turret, but it's a bit of a base race here, as Prismatic going to push up the mid lane. They've got the outer there, going to hammer down the mid lane inner turret as well, and they should be able to do this faster than Piss Tank or Heal Slot can push that bot lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I like this call by the bot lane from SFAD, because, I mean, yes, while they are pushing this, like, right now, Prismatic, they have a good chance to just go take Baron, or not Baron, but Rift Herald for free.
For sure, and it looks like they might do that here. They've got the vision cleared out. They've cleaned that Skarner node over there, the altar. But it looks like, no, they're just going to base out of this. Oh, no, they're going to set up a death bush instead here. They did, however, affect this ward. So, on the side, as of the AD, they might know somebody's there. But Enchanted Crystal Arrow does find Finny. The Kindred ultimate is not available, and he's going to get completely burst down. The Unstoppable Force exploding in his face there.
Yeah, they had a very good ward placed right next to Finny's red buff. So seeing him there, that gave him all the info they needed for being able to go for that arrow.
Yeah, and that is the jungler down on their side. Now Cassidy stealing the Unstoppable Force, going after So Amusing, but there's that tanky front line. So Amusing manages to survive, and Shapiro's going to go down after Cassidy. Mickey Mouse 1v2ing in the back here, just buying time, looking to see if he maybe can pick someone off. He will not be able to, but it's a successful block there as Prismatic managed to pick themselves up Herald, and now Just Storming might have overextended a little bit looking for Heal Slowat. Will end up feeding his bounty over the way of Piss Tank instead.
Yeah, very good zone used by Heal, being able to keep herself alive and get that kill set up for Piss Tank. But meanwhile, while that happened, Prismatic was able to pick up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, that will be their second Herald, and they can look to crack one of the inner turrets with it. That top lane turret extremely low here, and we did see So Amusing pushing out, but looks like So Amusing just going to back off the minions here. Might be able to take that. I'm not sure Shapiro will get there in time. And that's going to be all the outer turrets down for the side of SFAD here.
Yeah, right now the game is very back and forth. It's hard to say, like, who's winning or losing. Like, right now, SFAD, they're only up by 1,000 gold, so it's really not that big of a lead.
No, definitely not. Extremely close game here. And the other problem was that SFAD, not known to be a strong team fighting team here, they win most of their games just off stomping their lanes, and I would say that they've not successfully done that this game so far. Cassie, yes, he's 6-4-1, but that was mostly off the skirmishes that we're seeing once turrets go down. Mickey Mouse up about 40 CS on him, so able to find himself advantages. And when we look at the gold lead, it's actually still on the favor of Mickey Mouse in that mid lane. In fact, almost all the lanes here favoring the side of Prismatic in terms of gold. So if SFAD falls behind, how are they going to come back into this game?
Right now, ideally, they want to try to get a good pick. Oh, what?
That's the Assassin King you're talking about, bursting Finny from 100 to 0 so quickly there. There wasn't even time for Finny to try and use the Kindred ultimate there.
So, I was going to say what SFAD needs to do is try to get a pick on either Ash or on Kane. But I wasn't expecting Finny to just get exploded from 100 to 0 in like a second.
Yeah, and just looks like Prismatic right now just has all the tools they need. They're going to go and pick themselves up their first Drake of the game. It's going to be a Cloud Drake, so we're going to see cooldown reduction now. Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes across. They find Cassidy with it, but it's going to be a depth charge going on to heal Slawat instead. And they have to be careful with Zonius to keep him alive, and the suppress coming down onto Just Storming. He's going to get melted before he can fight. Showstopper coming out, but a beautiful Kindred ultimate to keep his team alive. Dark Prince just stepping out a little bit too far. Will not benefit from the invincibility, will go down. And now it's only Mickey Mouse left alive for the side of Prismatic Gaming. He's looking for Cassie. Can he pick him up? Because there's Heal Slawat and Piss Tank just outputting damage as well. That's going to be an ace for SFAD.
And that's exactly what I was talking about earlier with that Kindred pick. That Kindred pick kept, like, that turned everything. Now, while Prismatic Esports, like, that fight was glorious. They set that up perfectly. They all, like, went off of each other's ults. They did what they needed to do. But Finny, being so skilled to hold his ult until just the right moment, was definitely very clutch for SFAD.
Yeah, negated the unstoppable force there from True Hero. So a lot of that burst damage didn't come out. We see the flash come out from Piss Tank as he's dodging out an Enchanted Crystal Arrow, which came right down the mid lane there. So we'll not have that available for the next fight. And we see Herald being dropped. Shelly dropped in the base there. I believe it was running out of time, so they just had to get it down there. And a QSS pickup here from Piss Tank. Interestingly enough, he's the one who's going to pay the QSS tax first in the game, despite the Skarner actually being on SFAD's team, but he's sick of Enchanted Crystal Arrows. He's sick of the stuns coming out from Dark Prince and wants to make sure he can get out. They're going to escort Shelly up the mid lane, and they're knocking now on an inhibitor turret. Dark Prince going to throw the anchor toss out, but he has to be careful. He's in deep there. We'll be able to walk that out, and that inhibitor turret going to lose about 80% of its health just from that one charge from Shelly there.
Right, and meanwhile, while both teams are just kind of butting heads here in mid, Prismatic, their top lane is pushed all the way up to...
and Just Storming running in. He's going deep for the damage. Can he find it? No, Piss Tank able to survive. And it's going to be Just Storming going down once again. Overstaying his welcome. If he can't kill somebody, he's going to go down. True Hero following with the unstoppable force. But the rest of his team is not there. So Amusing was way back in base. Only Dark Prince to follow, and that means he's going to die too. That was such a weird initiate. That was a 3v5.
Yeah, that, I don't understand that one at all. Like, up till that point, both teams were playing outstandingly, and now it just feels like Prismatic is just throwing hard.
And that might cost him the game here as Baron getting shredded down. Already down to 3,000 health. Will be on all 5 members of SFAD. And Prismatic is going to have to mount a spectacular Baron defense here to make sure their base isn't in shambles.
Now, one thing that is on the side of Prismatic right now is both of their side lanes are pushed in their favor, so they will have a little bit of a buffer to help deal with this Baron push.
Yeah, and at least they will have quite a bit of gold to pick up as well on the side of SFAD as they look to push in here. The basing is getting a little staggered. Cassidy and Piss Tank are going to be late to join the rest of their team here, so that will buy Prismatic a bit of time to push out. And for the first time in a while, SFAD going to take the lead in terms of gold. Prismatic was up just under 1,000 gold earlier, so the lead's extremely small. But the last couple of fights have gone the way of SFAD, and it's, as you said, mostly just sort of bad calls here coming out of Prismatic. So if the two teams were to fight head-to-head in the next 5v5, who do you think would come out ahead there in that fight?
You know, it's really hard to say because right now Jan is super strong. He's got his IE and his Stormrazor. Ashe is also strong right now. Wow, she has a Triforce. That's an interesting pick. Not something very commonly seen on Ashe. I think it's just going to come down to whether or not if Vinny has his ult available again, and if he's able to stop so much damage as he did last time. Because even with having the Baron, Prismatic is still very strong by their own right at the current moment.
Yeah, definitely. We do see both teams setting up for this Dragon. SFAD not going to use the Baron buff to push lanes. Instead, they're going to try and use it to secure themselves. So point here on this Cloud Drake. And at this point in the game, it gets shredded really fast. So amusing. Still not quite yet joined up with the rest of the team. Just arrived here. And we might see another full 5v5 setup here. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will score a field goal there. Not quite landing onto anyone, and they're gonna chase, it looks like, after Piss Tank here. Just Storming going on a one-way trip, and this is a 1v1. No Morgana to protect, no Cassidy, no Silas, and they are gonna be able to find Piss Tank. The Finny gonna use the Kindred ultimate right away, but a good showstopper ensures Shapiro will not be able to go in. Doesn't matter though, Dark Prince and Mickey Mouse both gonna go down because True Hero was off with Just Storming on the side. So Amusing still is alive though, and it's gonna be Just Storming getting absolutely melted there. Now True Hero and So Amusing gonna have to look to get out of this one here. The flash from True Hero, but that's left So Amusing abandoned. Beautiful turnaround, the unstoppable force, but it doesn't matter because Heal Slow, what, able to just pop down So Amusing. He was already so low, and now True Hero able to pick up Heal Slow, what, get one at least in exchange for his life. That's going to be yet another one fight, yet another ace for the side of SFAD. And everything seems to be going up SFAD's way right now. They pick up the Cloud Drake, they pick up an ace, and they can just do whatever they want right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where True Hero was at. Why did he try to go help Just Storming, who was obviously doing fine on his own against this tank? Like, in that 1v1, Just Storming wins that handily. There's no reason for True Hero to go help him.
Now Just Storming once again going after Piss Tank, instantly bursting him there. The QSS not going to be able to do anything for him. Will trade his life though, as Shapiro going to be able to find Just Storming and pick that up. So it's a 1-for-1 trade there.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you know, just goes to show, in the 1v1, Just Storming wins that. So if Shapiro hadn't been there, that would have been a free kill for Just Storming, and he just would have ran off with it.
Yeah, and with that, Piss Tank does have both his summoners down from the previous 5v5 there. So if Just Storming can ever find him isolated, he can just keep repeating that for free kills onto Piss Tank. And it's a good thing that Finny is on that Kindred. So they have a backup ADC as well in these fights. Even if they lose Piss Tank right away, they can continue to output a lot of damage if Finny can stay alive in these fights.
Right, so right now, my thought would be, instead of trying to catch out Piss Tank, you want to catch Finny out, take the Kindred ult out of the equation, and your team wins these fights easily.
For sure, but now we do see Finny potentially getting caught out here. The showstopper used, but perhaps was a bit premature there. And Finny able to just take the blast cone out. Will not have to burn any summoners or ultimates there. And that was the ultimate coming out of Mickey Mouse, so will not be available for the next fight. Has a fairly short cooldown though, so should be up not too long for now. They just need to stall out this mid lane push for a little bit. But Mickey Mouse in the bot lane, just storming in the jungle. That's going to be a 3v4, 3v5 here in the mid lane as they shove into the inner turret here.
Right, and I mean, Mickey Mouse currently is bot, so he just recalled. So it's kind of weird that he's. I mean, I get that they need to have their side lanes pushed, but once you see all 5 of them coming down mid lane, it's just like at some point you need to make that call to regroup with the team.
Thankfully though, SFAD didn't really push that advantage in the mid lane. Finny going to pick his blue buff up means that gave that Mickey Mouse had enough time to get back, but unstoppable force being used by Cassidy there onto True Hero. Just Storming gonna get taken low, but it's gonna be Shapiro stuck on the turret. The Kindred ultimate not quite in time to save him there. Curtain call comes out, will not be enough, and now he's going to get hit by an Agratos, is going to get stunned up. Mickey Mouse with a beautiful flank from the side. The teleport speed buff will be able to find him, but the QSS looks like Pistank able to survive a bit longer. Showstopper use, and it's going to be heal still what now? Isolated after Shizonia's in the middle of the lane. And that's going to be 3 going down the way of Prismatic Gaming. SFAD living and dying by Finny right now. And with Finny's mistake on popping that Kindred ultimate early and not being able to save Shapiro there means that they lose this and potentially lose the second burn of the game. And that one going to go to Prismatic, so they will be able to make a bit of a comeback here for themselves. Let's see if they can use that burn more efficiently than SFAD managed to.
Right, and I feel like the main issue there was while Finny was able to ult and it did buy them some time, in the previous fights, when Finny ulted, everyone stayed within the confines of the ult. So they were able to burst down Prismatic, and then once the ult wore off, they were able to take them all out. But this time, he popped the ult, and then they just kind of run out of it. So it's just like, that's not really doing much for your team at all.
Definitely, and because they don't have that true tank, Shapiro not really building tank, has instead gone an interesting AP build. He has a Nashor's too, but True Hero getting potentially caught out here. The rest of his team is in the wings, and he's tanky enough to survive. We do see Cassidy once more using the unstoppable force, but True Hero showing him how it's to be used. Will buy a bit more time. Finny not even having to use the ultimate. They're winning this real handily because once again, Mickey Mouse not with the team. They initiated, well, they kind of got caught out there. True Hero walking into that. But that was a 4v5 and now they'll give Soul over. That's going to be Cloud Soul going the way of SFAD. And only person left with Baron is going to be Mickey Mouse. Prismatic just not looking like they're on the same page here once again.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was just True Hero being a little too gung-ho and just like, hey guys, I found them, let's go in. Oh wait, I'm leagues ahead of my team now. Oh no.
Yeah, and I mean, he did get a beautiful 4-man knockup with the unstoppable force, but there was just no damage to follow up. Just Storming was already taken down by Cassidy. Cassidy using that unstoppable force in that fight, really just to take Just Storming out, but that meant that Piss Tank was perfectly safe and could free fire from the back, and everybody else just piled in onto So Amusing, and So Amusing, who's the win condition, I believe, here for the side of Prismatic, just couldn't output the damage that he needed to be able to do there.
Right, and not to mention, right before True Hero got that unstoppable force off, Just Storming also went in a little too early as well, and he essentially got bursted out.
And now he's going for Shapiro. Did see the ward, but I'm not sure he wins this 1v1. Looks like he might, and he's got the QSS built already, but unfortunately for him, Healsla going to show up and turn that to a 2v1. And at this time, you've just got to wonder about Just Storming's targeting there. Whether or not he should be going for Shapiro, because we've seen Shapiro kill multiple times now.
Right, I mean, at that point, it's like if you get him down that low, oh no.
And now they found Mickey Mouse. The damage is good. They're just going to burn right through him there, and suddenly 2 people down on the side of Prismatic. And it's such a chaotic game here.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, right now people are having recall to try to defend this push, but I'm not sure if they have the damage to do so without just Storming and Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, that's going to be the base turrets cracked here. The inhibitor going down, and now Dark Prince going to land himself an anchor toss, but that means he goes in as well. Looks like he's just going to get popped right away by Finny. And we're hitting the point where Finny doesn't even need to use that Kindred ultimate yet. He'll still tanking up this turret so that they can dive True Hero, and True Hero, the tank, going to get burst out under his own turret. Just storming, looking for Cassie, but we finally see the delayed Kindred ultimate. Cassie going to walk out looking for the kill. Will end up dying because he wasn't in the invincibility zone. But that's worth, because they managed to burst just storming down. They're on to the Nexus turrets now. They're on to the Nexus. Only Mickey Mouse left alive. He gets the 4-man showstopper, but he gets dragged away by Shapiro. He did not, his QSS was not used. He did buy it, and that's going to be game. SFAD picking up the first win here of the series in a 35-plus minute game. 40-26, the final kill score here. It's just, I don't know how to describe this game. It's just such a bloodbath here.
One word: messy. It was messy by both teams. Both teams, they had plays where they played outstandingly well, and when those happened, the enemy team, it was just a massacre. It was just miscommunication all around. Whether it be when Shapiro got caught out and Finney mistimed his ult, or the multiple occasions from Prismatic where they're just split and people just go in one by one, or they just get caught out.
Yeah, it just looks so promising for Prismatic earlier on in the game, because they were the ones finding the catches onto SFAD, and then suddenly Just Storming just starts running it down, it looked like, and we can see the damage charts here for the team. And in terms of damage, Just Storming second highest on his team, but I mean, is that does that really matter if you've got high damage if you just keep dying and you can't output that damage for your team? Mickey Mouse the highest on the team for himself, and Finny the highest on the side of SFAD here.
Right, which, I mean, to be fair, that's not very surprising. We've seen this multiple times from Finney. Him just being, his playstyle is he likes to play hard carries. So if he's not putting out a ton of damage, it definitely feels like an odd game.
For sure. And not only did he do the most damage, he actually took and tanked the most damage for his team with that aggressive playstyle he had. Cassidy tanking the second most on his team as well. And in the top lane, surprisingly, Shapiro just not going tank really, mostly just going straight damage. So did not really tank that much damage, and it kind of somehow worked out for SFAD.
Right, and that's because of how often Skarner is able to produce a shield to help mitigate some of the damage that they're taking in.
So SFAD, congrats to them. They win game 1 in the series here. And so if you're on the side of Prismatic, what do you think they need to change here? Because honestly, I don't think it's a compositional issue when you look at how mixed up SFAD's comp was.
Keep your head clear. Like, at some point in that game, they got too cocky, they got overconfident, and they just started going ham. And at that point, then things started going wrong, and that's when the tilt came in. And then it just kept going downhill from there.
For sure. So we'll definitely have to see if Prismatic can reset their mental here and be able to come back in game 2 against SFAD, and SFAD will be more than happy going to this game. If they can win it here, they're done. And if Prismatic can win this, we will be able to see a game 3. With that, we are going to head into an intermission break while we set up for game 2 here. See you all in a couple.